Nobody likes a used car dealer, but the automotive industry, the used car market is dying, and car dealers are going to die with it, and it's going to affect you as a regular person. You buy brand new cars or you buy new cars, at some point it's going to affect you, and I've been watching this happen over time. It's not an overnight change. The automotive industry as a whole is completely changing for the better for the manufacturers, not for you as the public. It is going to hurt all of us. In today's video, I'm gonna explain what's going on. I'm at an auction right now. I bought a car here and I'm selling a car here, and I'm gonna show you firsthand how it affects me as the car dealer, which also affects you as the consumer. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Welcome to my life. Let's get going. So the automotive industry is the backbone of our country. If you think about it, Henry Ford created the Model T, the assembly line. He created the 9-to-5 work week. They started prohibition. Then everything changed. COVID changed everything. Automotive industry changed during COVID. Tesla turned everything from a regular car into a computer car that you can't work on. We thought Cash for Clunkers was doing something great when they were giving us too much money to turn in our cars so they could kill them. Little did we know, they were destroying the last good quality, well-made vehicles and getting rid of them in the junkyard. Soon, you're not gonna be able to find parts for cars because they're all LED, they're all computer-based. There's nothing repairable. Everything is replaceable now, including your car. I'm gonna talk about my 2015 Tesla Model S that I have. That is basically a paperweight. Tesla said, give us 10 grand or you have a paperweight. There's no in between. I have a Range Rover here that I purchased here, and I'm gonna try to sell here after doing some work to it. And I'm gonna show you how it's near impossible for me to make any type of money doing it that way. But selling it to the public means I have to sit on it, I have to market it, I have to pay the insurance, I have to pay for the spot that it's gonna sit in until it sells. It's really, really expensive. And since COVID, insurance premiums have soared. And so has every one of my vendors. Freon to charge the AC system in this car has changed since COVID. And it's gone from maybe what was $199 to recharge your AC system to $499 to charge AC system because there's a new type of refrigerant that's required. Not to mention safety standards have changed as well as EPA guidelines. The EPA is always out to protect the environment, but it's doing you a disservice. By having aluminum vehicles that are made to be lighter, they're not repairable now. They're replaceable. You can't take your aluminum car to the body shop to go get it fixed. They'll replace the parts for you. Not many cars have a shift knob with a cable that goes to the transmission that engages your car physically into gear. Even the ones that look like they do are just electronic shifters. Worse, knobs or push buttons, which are completely electronic, meaning you're relying on the computer to shift your car for you manually. Just ran out of fuel in a 2022 GMC Yukon the other day, in traffic, and the computer would not allow me to put it in neutral, to get out of traffic, to roll it back. Pull the shifter column down. In an old car, it goes into neutral, you manually push the vehicle. New cars, it detected a fault, the car wouldn't start, it was out of fuel. I was stuck in traffic until I was able to find fuel for that vehicle. I told you how car dealers are dying. Let me explain what's going on. It's getting harder and harder for us as the dealer to source used vehicles. They're getting more expensive, the competition is higher, and honestly, as a service to you, the consumer, you're more educated. You're able to shop prices, you're able to shop cars, you're able to check reviews on the dealer and the vehicle itself, which is amazing. That is just one of the best things that could have ever happened for all of our safety and all of our just know what we're getting, what we're doing, and knowing that we're feeling educated. To be able to shop around is wonderful. But cars are getting more expensive. So a 2008 Cadillac Escalade was around $60,000 in 2008. Now, fast forward to 2023, that same Escalade new is $130,000. So as an inflation aspect, vehicle prices have doubled in 20 years. So it's going to cost you more as the consumer to purchase a new vehicle. And in order to do that, in order to be able to afford that vehicle, dealers, the manufacturers, extended the terms. So instead of getting a 2 or a 3-year loan, you now get a 7-year loan or a 6-year loan, meaning you're paying for that vehicle for 6 and 7 years. But there's a problem. These new cars are only meant to last 10 years and 100 to 150,000 miles. So once you're done making your payments, you throw away that car and you continue making payments on another new car, which is what, wow, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at that. Hey, so this channel is all about getting deals, and I have been watching AliExpress for years now, and they are having some crazy back to school deals. My kids just went back to school, and my son loves like his texture powder and salt spray. Stuff's like $18 a bottle, and I got it for $1.99. Now I'm also gonna surprise Nacho with a 4K dash cam that I just bought him on AliExpress as well. Nacho, I wanna give you this now that you have your first car. This is a Z60 Pro dual channel dash cam. I got it on AliExpress. So it's the next day, and it looks like Nacho already installed his Z60 Pro dash cam. Actually, it looks like it is supposed to be there. Did you install the backup camera yet? You see it on screen?
Yes, you can. Tap this button right here.
Now the front facing shoots in 4K, the rear facing shoots in 1080p. AliExpress is having welcome deals for first time users. Deals like buy 3 for 99 cents and buy 1, get 2 for free. Just my son's hair products alone, I saved well over $25, probably even more. So check out AliExpress and use this code at the bottom of the screen to double dip and get extra discounts. But that's what the manufacturers want. They want you to pay double. They want to figure out how to make it affordable by extending your terms, and they want you to get used to making that $1,000 a month payment. And then 10 years from now, when your car is garbage, it's more expensive to repair than it is to replace. So you just continue making those same payments on a new car. They don't want cars to last 10, 15, 20 years. They want them to last 10 years and then you get a new car or less. I said I was going to discuss how used car dealers are dying. Let me just give you an example. This Ford Expedition right here, 2018 Ford Expedition, has 100,000 miles. I've made a video about this, but it's the perfect example. At 100,000 miles, this vehicle has a 10-speed automatic transmission. The engineers developed it with GM. They joined forces to create this super transmission. But unfortunately, it only lasts 100,000 miles. So the transmission, to replace this transmission, is $8,000 on a truck that's worth $18,000 or $20,000. So you can spend $20,000 on a 100,000 mile used car. Or worse, I could sell you a 2018 Ford Expedition that's beautiful for $20,000, and in 5,000 or 10,000 miles later, that transmission can fail on you and cost you $8,000 to replace because it cannot be repaired. It gets worse though. This same engine, the 6-cylinder twin turbo that Ford developed to meet EPA guidelines, smaller displacement, put turbochargers instead of larger displacement engines, the 6-cylinder has cam phaser issues. That is thousands and thousands of dollars to replace or repair. And it's not if, it is when. Every single 3.5 V6 twin turbo is going to have cam phaser issues, and you're going to spend thousands to fix them. Now, as the dealer, I am competing with other dealers to buy this same Ford Expedition. At 100,000 miles, it's automatically sold red light to me, meaning I buy it as is. I buy it, I drive it, I find out it has a transmission problem. I can't sell it to you. I have to spend the $8,000 to go fix it, and now I own it for $25,000. Well, I can't make a profit that way. If I spend $8,000 to fix a transmission that I used to spend $2,000 to replace a transmission, I can't be in business. I can't sustain my business. If I bought an old Ford Expedition and had a transmission issue, I could pay a transmission shop $2,000 to put in a remanufactured transmission and sell it with a remanufactured transmission, and everything's great. But when it cost me $8,000, that $2,000 on the transmission was my profit. Now, I'm negative $6,000 to sell a Ford Expedition. That will put me out of business. Okay, Craig, don't buy Ford Expeditions. Buy Nissan Sentras then. Buy Nissan Altimas. Ha! Yeah. Nissan used to make an amazing product in the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s. And then they got into CVT transmission, and then they started having they just started making everything cheaper and everything started failing. So I can buy a Nissan and I know I'm gonna have a transmission problem. All right, Craig, buy a Kia or a Hyundai. Great, engine problems, which are really expensive for me to fix. So here's how it's coming full circle. You as a consumer buy a brand new car. You overextend yourself by extending your payment terms. Then you get used to paying that $800 to $1,000 per month on your new vehicle until it fails. The transmission on your Expedition fails on you, you find out it's $8,000 to fix, and you're like, well, you know what? I'll just get another brand new one because I'll keep my payments the same and I can get into a new car. So you do that. Then you trade in, your Ford Expedition ends up at this auction where I then go buy it and I get stuck with it. That's gonna put me out of business. If it keeps happening over and over and over, that will put me and every other dealer out of business. And it's not your fault, it's the manufacturer who created a replaceable vehicle, not a good car that's gonna last a long time. Craig, I get it, I won't buy a new Expedition, but wait. 2015, things changed. The automotive industry started changing for the worse, and cars started being built differently. That GMC, a pickup, a work truck, is supposed to be just the backbone of our society, a working person's vehicle. These have transmission issues and these have lifter issues in almost every single one of them, which is going to cost a fortune for you as a consumer. So you trade it in, it gets passed down. I buy it as the dealer not knowing, and then I have to fix it and then sell it for either more money or for a loss. And it gets worse and worse and worse. These Escalades, brand new, $130,000, are way more problematic than even that GMC Sierra from 10 years ago. You're gonna hate that I'm saying this, but one of the best engines, best transmissions, best vehicles ever built, 2004 Chevy GMC truck. It's an '04 Hummer H2. It has incredibly comfortable and luxurious interior with armrests and a 6-liter LQ9 V8 that is near indestructible. It is a workhorse. This is when trucks were built to be trucks. Now, it's not just the Hummer H2. The Chevys, the Escalades of this generation are some of the best vehicles ever built because they were built to last. They were built heavy and big and well done. And if this door handle breaks, you can replace it. And if this light breaks, you can replace the bulb or the lens. Pull one bulb out of here and replace these bulbs instead of this entire LED panel that's $1,200 or more on a new Hummer. Same thing on this Corvette. You replace the bulb, or when the headlight stops popping up, you replace the motor on the headlight. You don't have to replace an entire assembly. Also, the LS1 in this Corvette, one of the best engines ever produced, so much so that every hot rodder wanted to use these in all their hot rods because you can work on them, because you can build them, because they're reliable and inexpensive to maintain. So I told you I would show you one of my cars that I bought here and I'm selling here, and fingers crossed we make some money on. And I also want to explain to you how this is going to affect you, because not everybody can afford an $800 or $1,000 car payment. The majority of people can't afford an $800 to $1,000 new car payment. So what's the alternative? We buy pre-owned, 2 years old, 3 years old. Here's the issue. When you buy a brand new car, there are incentives. There's $5,000 cash back from the manufacturer. There's 0% financing. There are incentives for you to buy brand new cars. There are lease deals. As soon as you purchase that vehicle, it depreciates 25%. And the purpose is because it's a used vehicle. The dealer already used those rebates. They already used the incentives to sell that car. So now they're gonna have to make their profit somehow on a 2 or 3 year old car. So when you trade in that car, it's worth way less. But you can't get great rates because it's a used car, not a new car. So the incentive is there to buy the new car still. Like, why would I buy a 2025 when a 2026 is out for the same money, but I get a rebate and 0% financing? Forget new cars and even certified pre-owned. Let's just say all we can afford is a used car. Well, I told you about the Ford Expedition that I would have been able to sell for $20,000 if it did have transition issues. But now I have to sell it for $28,000 because I spent an extra $8,000 on a transmission. So I have to get 28 just to break even. An Escalade, I just spent 10 grand on an engine. I have to mark that up 10 grand just to break even, no profit. So you might think it's negotiable, but I can't even negotiate because I own it because of a defective engine, or I own it because of a defective transmission. So when you need a used budget-friendly car, you are going to maybe be able to afford it, but then you're not going to be able to afford the replaceable repairs. And it's really going to hurt a lot of people. So I have another example. My GMC Yukon is made of aluminum. This door is aluminum. It's not repairable. You can't pop a dent. You can't go to a paintless dent removal guy. You have to replace that $4,000 door, or you drive around with a dented door. So we're gonna see a lot more dented vehicles because they're made of aluminum, or higher insurance premiums because higher cost to repair. That affects you as the consumer when your insurance premiums go up because cars are just more expensive to repair. Just get back to me being a car dealer and how difficult it is. I purchased a car here like 3 months ago. We fixed the suspension, I cleaned it up, made it look great, brought it back thinking we could make a little bit of money because it's in better condition than when I purchased it. Well, I'm here, I drove 45 minutes and my car is nowhere to be found. I called yesterday to make sure I had a run number. They said yes, number 3120 or whatever it was. I come here, it's not here. They were mistaken on the phone. So, give credit where credit's due. I told them and said, oh my goodness, that's a mistake, I'm so sorry. We'll go get the car and make sure it's in a lane right now. Awesome, they're amazing, and mistakes happen. We're all human. But for me, I drove all the way here to have my car pushed to the very end of the day, I won't get the money that I was hoping for had I been maybe at the beginning of the day. And also when they do a condition report is like a report on the condition of the car, obviously. It's reported as the same as it was when I bought it. So people buying it online aren't gonna see that it's actually nicer than when I bought it, because the condition report rating, the grade is still the same as when I bought it. And it depends on the person that does your condition report, grades it for you. If they like you, if they do you a favor, if you're here all the time, your condition report or your grade level, your condition, your CR might be higher than me, who is really just a nobody. So when I'm trying to make just a small profit on a car, even that's tough. Oh my goodness, bring me back to the old days with the 2001 5 Series or a 1985 5 Series. Look at that. Oh, that's a 7 Series. So this really shows you a comparison of how big a 7 Series is today. That versus a 7 Series in the 80s. That. Wow, that's the same size as a 3 Series today. Now I have one more topic and then we're getting into my car because I hope it's around here somewhere. This is a BMW, brand new 2025 BMW. New Mercedes. Do you know you're not capable of opening the hood on a new Mercedes? You're not, because essentially there's no reason you need to be under the hood of a Mercedes. You have to bring it to the dealer to get serviced. So if you want to check something, you can check your washer fluid. You don't need to check your oil. You don't need to check your transmission fluid. You don't have to check your tire pressure. The computer does it all for you. But when those things break or fail, the dealer has to fix them. You have to bring it to the Mercedes dealer to have them fixed. Yeah, new cars are under warranty. The dealer covers it. But what happens when they hit 40,000, 50,000, 60,000? What happens when a 2026 Mercedes is as old as this 2005 CLS 55 AMG? Most of us can do brakes on this car. Yeah, the parts themselves are expensive, but we can do it. We can do the oil change on this car. I can replace that light or those bulbs on this car right here. But this car is 20 years old. Wow, this is a beautiful car, by the way. Holy smokes, look at how nice this thing is. Now I'm interested. Maybe we'll buy it today. But again, this car is 20 years old. When the 2026 is 10 and 20 years old, who can afford to bring that used Mercedes to a Mercedes dealer to get serviced? Nobody. So it's going to either be thrown in the junkyard or be too expensive to repair. So you, as the used car purchaser, is going to be in a really, really tough predicament. Oh, I sound all doom and gloom, but I've been seeing the slow transition. If it happened overnight, everyone would be up in arms. Everyone would be panicking, but it's not. It's a transition, and it's going to affect us today with my 10-year-old Tesla that has 97,000 miles. That's either $10,000 to fix, or it's bricked because no one can touch it but the Tesla dealer, or you just pay. And if you can't afford it, tough luck. You have a junk car that you can scrap. That's all you can do. Give it to the junkyard, sell it for parts, because it's useless to you. I know I'm all doom and gloom, but if I haven't said it already, this is the stuff that keeps me up all night long. Being the used car dealer, knowing where the world is headed, knowing that it gets more difficult every single day for me to stay in business, to fight against the manufacturers, knowing that I'm not going to be able to put a battery in an F-150 when I get it from the auction in 10 years because I'm going to have to go to the dealership so they can program the battery into the computer. That's going to really affect me and everybody else. Just like you, when you go to AutoZone to get a battery for your 2026 F-150 in 10 years, you're not going to be able to put it in. You're gonna have to go to the dealer to have them put it in, and will they put in an aftermarket battery, the most basic repair you can do to your car? I don't know. That's a little scary to me. And I lived in New Hampshire, where in the winter, I replaced a battery on every single car I purchased. And in Florida, in the summer, those batteries cook and boil, and you replace batteries in every single car during the summer. Who do you think that cost is getting passed on to? When I buy it here, and then the battery is dead, and I can't just swap in an $80 or $100 or $150 battery. I have to go to the Ford dealer, and it's gonna cost me $400. That car goes up $400 in price. And the consumer, the purchaser, is going to have to pay it. And if it's not my car, it's the other dealer down the road that also had to replace a battery. The cost of used cars is going to go up for all of you. So figure out how to make more money, because we're all gonna need it soon. On a different note, look at how beautiful these cars are. I mean, for people that have money, this video doesn't even matter. It won't matter now, it won't matter in 10 years. But, oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful car. So this is like the last generation of self-repairable Ferraris. I can work on this myself for the most part. This, no way, forget it. Even that, that is going to be tough for me to work on. To this auction, they're so good to me, and the people are great here, and just their selection from budget friendly to literal supercars is really amazing, and one of the reasons I moved to Florida. I mean, you can buy a Hyundai and you can buy a GT3 RS in the same place. I love coming here. It's so beautiful. And although I'm talking about how difficult it's going to be for our future, just to see the supercars, the way cars are built today, again, I know that's going against what this video is about, but to see like that Porsche and the Ferrari in front of it and that Porsche right there, so cool. And I can source inventory while fighting with other dealers to source that same inventory. It's not easy. So here's my Range Rover. Bought it from South Dade Land Rover. It has 59,000 miles. It's a 2022 and has 59,000 miles. I own it for about $34,500. Now MMR, the price I was telling you, values of the auction, is worth about $36,000 to $37,000 with the work I did to it. But I'm a no-name dealer, and it's a Range Rover that can be very expensive to repair, so it's a gamble to see what we can get for it. Range Rover's going through now. Let's see how we do.
Green light button, driving down 0 to structural. 35,000. Westminster, 32 grand, 32.5, 2 grand, 2 more car, the money there, boys.
So you can see how difficult it is to actually make any money. I bought this thing here, paid an auction fee, then I'm $1,500 in the suspension, then we reconned the car, did the services, brought it back hoping we could make a little bit. So the auction's over, and as I mentioned before, I love that auction. They're good to me, and they have a really cool selection of cars, and even when I lived in New Hampshire, I was flying down regularly to go to that auction. Now I'm on my way to another auction, which is an hour and 15 minutes north on the same day. So you'll see in front of me right there, that's my Range Rover. Now I want to explain, as a dealer, expenses, the way things cost me money. I bought that Range Rover. I paid an auction fee of $500. I paid a transporter to transport it to my shop. That was like another $200. Then I paid $1,500 for suspension and another $300 for like some coolant lines that needed to be replaced. So I'm into that car for a lot of money after the purchase. Then I didn't really have enough time to sell it, so I wanted to bring it back to the auction to see if we could make money or even just break even, get our money back. And there was some confusion at the auction, and then really there were no buyers on it. So I couldn't even get my money back. I would have had to sell it at a loss. So obviously, if I'm selling things at a loss, that's the fastest way for your business. That's the fastest way for you to go out of business. Now, on top of just that one car, rent, insurance. We have liability insurance, we have property insurance, we have garage policy, I have like workers, so many different policies of insurance. And every vendor has increased their prices on me, every single vendor. Then you have Facebook Marketplace ads. Then you have Car Gurus or Cars for Sale or Auto Trader, all of which try to justify raising their prices every single year on me. So year over year over year, as a dealer or just generally a business owner, my vendors are trying to justify reasons to increase their prices. It's essentially costing me more money per vehicle. So I either have to make more money per vehicle, make the same money at the end of the day to net the same money, or I sell more vehicles, which there's only so much time in the day, and then you run out of space, and then you need to scale and grow bigger, which then costs more money. I'm watching it get more and more difficult for small businesses. Now, the big box stores, the big dealerships, and the big manufacturers, they're gonna be fine. They have the money to grow, they have the money to adapt and change. It's the small guys that, even when you wanna stay on a budget and keep things basic, it's still really, really expensive and really difficult to sustain. Because keep in mind, life is also more expensive. So I'm competing with more dealers trying to purchase the same car to make less on it, while their overhead is higher. Also, the cost of living has increased as well. So all around, we need to make more money while we're making less money. And that's what's happening. So I'm starting to see like doors closing. I saw the writing on the wall back in New Hampshire, and I didn't want it all. I didn't want a $25,000 a month expense for my dealership, so I scaled down. And now that I'm even smaller, it's even more difficult because I have less employees, less help, and I'm starting from ground up. Now, us independent, small dealerships, we try to offer creative financing. We try to do what we can and be as helpful as possible to facilitate that sale because we're hungry, we need to survive. We are going to try to get the best deal for you to try to keep us alive. It's getting harder and harder, and that's going to affect you. And when we're out of business, you're going to be forced to go to the big places like Carvana and CarMax that's marking their vehicles up $7,000 a vehicle for a used car. And then those cheap ones, those aren't going to be a thing anymore. Those little inexpensive $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 cars are not going to be existent because the repairs are going to cost more than the cars themselves. Now, this video is different than those car dealers or dying videos that I made in the past because the world is changing. And it's, as much as AI can help us in so many ways, it's putting a lot of people out of business, but more importantly, the business model from the new car stores, the manufacturers, are what is going to kill this used car industry one day. You're not going to be able to fix things. You're just going to be able to you're just going to have to replace them and buy new cars. So, fair warning. Remember that you heard it here first. 5 years from now when I'm still making YouTube videos, or 10 years from now, I'm gonna say, hey, remember in 2026, remember in 2027 when I said what was happening? It's happening. I now have to sell a 2022 Range Rover with 59,000 miles. And honestly, if I make 1,000 over what I own it for, I'm happy. So if somebody wants a 22 Range Rover, it's on my website. So check out my website if you're interested in anything. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. I'll see y'all later. Adios.